Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to Exploring Elite Dangerous episode 30. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Right nearby there's what's known as a Planetary Nebula, and this specific one has been recommended for a visit by Koala2 in the comments on my previous video. Koala2 has also kindly provided a list of locations that can be visited in a thread on the Elite Dangerous forums, and I'll provide that link in the video description. But for now we're going to head to this location here. It's just 225 light years away, so that's only around about 7 jumps or so. It shouldn't take too long to get there, and of course we will stop off on the way to have a look at anything interesting. The current system is, to be honest, pretty sparse. There's not much going on here. It is lagging a little bit because, as you saw, the system map, the galaxy map, is plotting a route, and in the core, as we get closer to there, it does take a little bit longer for the computer to do that. So yeah, there we go, 7 jumps. Let's get to it. So, in case you're wondering, a planetary nebula is a area of gas that's been ejected from an old red gas giant. Oh, look at this, we've got binary stars straight off the bat. Got to be a little bit careful here because sometimes you can end up stuck between them as you come out of hyperspace, but always a nice surprise if you end up in an area like this. But as I was saying, a planetary nebula is basically an area of gas that's been ejected from an old red gas giant. These are nowhere near the size of regular nebulas. They are only roughly the size of a normal star system. So as we get there, we'll start seeing it in the distance getting a little bit larger, and it should be a very pretty area to visit. Now, looks like quite a few things here to go take a look at. That one there is a high metal content planet, so I will certainly go and look at that. Worth a little bit of credits, but they're also quite pretty to see, especially against the backdrop we've currently got. Just look at the amount of stars there. Now, the majority of high metal content planets, but by no means all of them, do have atmospheres, and you can see the atmosphere of the planet here, which also means it's got clouds and probably weather formations, judging by the spiraling clouds there. And again we get a lovely view of the twin stars here. Now, these look even more interesting when you come at them from the opposite direction of the planet. That's with the dark side of the planet facing toward us. You may have noticed some rather odd patterns in the star field there in the background. Almost some type of square type areas hidden away, and partially that is due to the way some of this star information is gathered for the game. For a lot of it, it's actually data gathered from real world scans of the night sky, from satellite telemetry of deep space and many other such things, and when that's combined alongside areas of procedurally generated space, sometimes they overlap in somewhat odd ways. But nonetheless, it all still looks rather stunning. Now, as I mentioned in some of my previous videos, as I get closer to this core, I keep finding more and more interesting systems, especially with those with Earth-likes and water worlds, and this was no exception. We got a water world right there, and what looks like it could possibly be an ammonia world right next door to it, both orbiting each other no less. So my first course of action was to go and have a look at the water world. Water worlds, of course, are worth quite a bit of money, and more often than not they actually contain a certain amount of life on them, water-based life. As I've said before as well, planets are also worth quite a bit more if they're candidates for terraforming, because of course that means people can come and live on them once the required changes have been made to the planet and its atmosphere. Now, this is the one I thought was going to be an ammonia world, but it's not. It's a high metal content world. But that said, it looks rather different to the worlds I've come across so far on my trips. Don't know quite why that is, but the colours here and the texture of the planet look very unique compared to what I've seen previously. A very gorgeous planet orbiting right near the water world, and I really do like to try and get as much of a view of these sort of places as possible. Quite often I'll actually take a look at these on the Oculus Rift. It's something I'd like to be able to show you guys what it actually looks like through the Rift, but it's not really something that translates very well to video, at least in terms of planets. And now here we are, the Planetary Nebula. After travelling the past few thousand light years against a completely black backdrop, albeit highly compressed with many stars, it was quite a revelation to drop off into an area like this that is only this sort of colour within this singular system. Now, I've been to quite a few nebulas in the past, and you can see a lot of that during my previous episodes, but I haven't yet been to one that has these sort of colours. The system was discovered by Koala 2, as I mentioned earlier in the video, and it's a pretty bare system in terms of the amount of planets here. All that is here is one singular neutron star, which unfortunately I can't actually show you because the footage of that actually got corrupted. But there is a neutron star nearby, and we'll go and have a look at that one a little bit later on. The other thing here is a high metal content planet. This one is a lava world, and it provides an absolutely gorgeous contrast against the background here. So I'm going to stay quiet for the next minute or so you can appreciate the beauty for yourselves. So, like I said, there is another system right nearby that contains a neutron star, and you can filter out stars by going to the system map here, or the galaxy map here rather, and just unchecking the type of stars you don't want to see and leaving a checkbox in the specific type of stars you are looking for, which in this case is non-sequence stars, and it's only about 4 light years away, so one very short jump. I'll make another video at some point in the future going into more detail on how you can filter out specific stars and go searching for black holes and things like that. Now, neutron stars are one of the most deadliest stars in the game in terms of the fact that they can prove to be very deadly traps when you approach them, and this is because they're so small but have a huge gravitational field. And this means you can their gravity well, which will cause mass lock, pulling you straight out of super cruise without getting all that close to them. It's quite hard to judge your distance to them, so you do have to be quite careful. Now, if you were very quick there, you may have noticed a neutron star sliding off to the left there. It has a lensing effect on it, very similar to what you see around black holes, but in this case a lot smaller. Now, I've got to be careful navigating my way around here because, like I say, it's possible to fall into the gravity well of the neutron star and damage my ship, which I don't really want to do this far out into the unknown depths of space. So I'm going to swing around there. And there it is. You can see the neutron star. It's only 1 light second away. It's a tiny pinprick, no bigger than any of the other background stars there. And the yellow circle around it indicates the area I mustn't trap myself within. So, here I was taking some external camera footage of the neutron star, flying at what I thought to be quite a distance from it. But, of course, I went and made the mistake I was just talking about. That's done it. I've taken another 2% damage to my hull. That's the last thing I wanted to do this far out in space. Right, I've got to keep my ship as cool as possible, meaning I'm going to have to disable as many modules as I can afford to disable. One of the most important ones to disable is, of course, the fuel scoop, because that will try and activate, and that will suck in a whole load of heat. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to have to disable life support as well, and the shield generator, because that requires a lot of energy and will give the most amount of heat to my ship. So I've got to get my ship running as cool as possible, meaning I'll probably have to deploy a heatsink. Typical, I got caught up here after saying about it, but not to worry, I suppose. After all these months of travel, only 10% damage on my hull isn't too major, but I'd rather it still be at 100% if I had the option. Right, I've also got to be a bit careful of my life support here. I've only got 5 minutes of oxygen and I don't want to keep wasting that. as it doesn't replenish itself until I get back to a station, and I might need my life support later on. Right, I can't launch a heatsink because I disabled the heatsink module. Let's enable one of them. I've got 2 more left on that particular one. Right, let's launch that heatsink module and get my ship running a little bit cooler. As soon as it is running at its coolest, I'll activate the FSD and try and get into Super Cruise. And there we go, down to 19%. Let's align with the escape vector and see if I can get out of here with overheating. This is a critical moment. You can see my heat rising. If it goes over 100%, I will take damage, but luckily 76, hopefully to 79. It looks like it's going to be the limit. To an extent, that may have all looked rather odd. The neutron stars are very small. You haven't got these blooming great stars looming over you, but they are extremely deadly and can annihilate your ship far faster than any other star in the game, other than perhaps getting yourself trapped between binary stars. Anyway, we made it out and all is good. That completes another leg of our journey toward the galactic core. Check back for the next episode as we get a little bit closer. And right there you can see the Planetary Nebula we were just inside of. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.